5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome to Two Fandom Friends, the not so stereotypical nerd podcast. I am your host, Salva, and with me, as always, is Chantal.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. We're so far away.
We are.
I miss you.
We say we're so far away, but realistically, we're like 20 minutes apart from each other.
So welcome to our new podcast. This is for those of you watching on YouTube, you can see our amazing, beautiful faces. But this is also available on Anchor. So thank you for coming. As we mentioned, it is a nerdy podcast. We both love different types of fandoms. So to start, Chantal,
yes,
what type of fandoms do you love?
Literally everything.
I was
literally everything. Like 90% of the fandoms that you like, I actually kind of introduced you to.
You did. Chantal's the reason why we're here.
DC, Marvel.
I mean,
I like them both.
DC was DC and Marvel. I'll kind of say like I definitely was introduced to that as a young kid watching the like Batman animated series and the Justice League animated series, and obviously all the Marvel movies that have come out since the very beginning. So yeah, it's just been crazy.
Yeah, like for me, literally anything, like Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, DC, Marvel.
Yeah.
Everything, any movie and any piece of media that can possibly come out, I will most likely like.
Mm-hmm.
I might not like all aspects of it. There will always be something.
There's always something, yes. Which is why we're here. We're just going to be talking about the things that we love and the things that we like and we dislike about stuff. But we're not gonna like hate on people. We're not gonna be hating on things in a super aggressive way. It's more of like, you know what, we didn't like it, but at the end of the day, it was still something to watch and something to look forward to.
And at least for myself, I find that even if I don't like something, there's always one thing about it that I liked.
Mm-hmm.
So even if I say I don't like something, I still kind of like it, you know?
Yeah, like you find, I mean, the thing that we watched today, we'll get into it in a minute, but there were definitely things that I did not like about it and things that I'm like, you know what, this is pretty good.
And sorry, I lost my train of thought. I was going to say something.
It's fine. I guess I'll say, just to add on to that, especially recently, and Chantal, you know this, I've like really got into reading again.
Yes, you have. Yeah.
I think book talk is to blame for that. And honestly, I have to say this. I started following my cousin on TikTok and Instagram, and she's an influencer. I'm not gonna like say that she's not. She's definitely an influencer. She's like over 21,000 followers on Instagram alone. And she does more of the indie stuff, but since following her, I've started getting a lot of book talk stuff. So, and that's kind of been like, I watch a lot of those videos and I'm like, you know what? I actually like the idea of giant fairy men with bat wings.
I still haven't read that book. You keep trying to get me to read it and I still haven't read it.
God. Okay, that has to be one episode that we do when Chantal finally reads A Court of Thorns and Roses, the whole series. Which I'm not even going to say like I've read the whole series because she's still not done the series. I've read everything that she has out so far with that series and I'm still waiting.
The funniest thing about that... Sorry, did you hear my stomach?
I did.
Sorry. What I was going to say was the funniest thing about that is I got the first book when she first released it.
Mm-hmm.
I have a first edition and I still haven't read it. And that was when I was way back in high school. I remember, Fan Expo. I was at Fan Expo in line to go to a panel with one of my friends. And she was reading the second book in the series because it just came out the day before. And
the second book's the best.
Telling me, she was telling me all about it in line for this panel. And like about like 10 people behind us were like, shh, I haven't read it yet.
Say
So we had to
nothing.
stop talking about it.
Yeah, no, it's honestly a really great series. If you're into that kind of stuff. I know it's not for everyone. I tried to get my mom to read it, and she got through the first 2 books. And my mom's more of like, I like the romance, but like nothing sexual at all happening. And like I've tried reading, like I've read books that she's read, and like she's happy about that, but she just can't get into the whole smutty part of adult fiction.
That's the best part, though.
New adult. You know what? I'm not gonna lie. It is.
So yeah, basically we like everything.
We do, yeah. And honestly, like if you guys have stuff that you would like to have us talk about, we'll watch it, or we'll read it, or we'll play it, and then we'll talk about it on the show. It's fun. Obviously, no hate whatsoever. We're not going to be like crapping on works that people have spent so hard working on, unless it was complete dog shit.
Which is very rare. I haven't
It's
actually
very
read
rare.
anything that I would absolutely crap on.
Yeah.
So many people work really hard on a lot of these projects. There are bad movies. Like there are bad movies, but like I always say, I mean, Sally, you're probably sick and tired of me saying this. There's always at least one thing that I like. So
No,
I like
for
to
sure.
focus on those positive aspects.
Yeah.
Yeah, are we gonna
Let's get
introduce
into what we're
about?
talking about today.
Spoiler alert, you have been warned.
You watched this a week ago.
Yes, and I watched it. I rewatched it again last night.
Okay. So she texted me and she's like, you need to watch this movie because the first 5 minutes were the greatest thing of my life.
Yeah, no, like I have such great feelings with like the first like 5, 6, 7 minutes, however long the intro sequence was. Like
Yeah.
I have such strong feelings about it. Like, oh my god, my mind.
She's texting me this, and we talk about it when we're at work, and she shows me the clip, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I think this is gonna be, because we've talked about doing this podcast for a while now, and I said, you know what? I think this is like a good start to it. Let's talk about this. So the movie that we watched is called Infinite. Yep. It came out in 2021. With Mark Wahlberg and Dylan O'Brien. Would you like to go first?
Okay, well, I do have to say that this movie was actually based on a book.
Is it really? Maybe I should read the book and we'll talk about it.
The book was called the Reincarnationist Papers. I always struggle with that word. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, Infinite seems like a better title.
Infinite is a better title. And it was by Eric Migrans. I hope I pronounced that name correctly. I don't know.
What was the title? The Reincarnationist
Papers.
Yeah,
so that was the book, and the book actually came out in 2009. So it is, I mean, I say recent book because it's
comparative to other stuff, yeah.
But yeah, so it came out in 2009. And then the movie came out in 2021. So I just wanted to preface that. Just saying it is based off of a book.
It was a book.
Yeah.
Can I ask, is this author like a fan of Assassin's Creed, or like
I don't know. I honestly
did you not know. Like
okay, when I first watched
First of all, sorry, before we get into it, spoilers for everything. Literally spoilers for everything.
Yeah. So
I'll put like a banner before we even start talking.
Spoilers. But yeah, like when I first watched it, I did not immediately think of Assassin's Creed. But also, you're way more into Assassin's Creed than I am.
I
watched the movies, and I've kind of played every game, but I've only played like 10 minutes of each game. So I haven't really played them. You know what I mean?
I will say It reminded me a lot of Assassin's Creed 2. I haven't played Assassin's Creed 1 because I can't find it on any like PS4, PS5 console, but I've played Assassin's Creed 2 multiple times and it's become my favorite. It's the Italian one. If that says anything about me. Anyways.
That's in line with that's in line with
Anyway, but that was the first one that I've ever played, and that was the first one that introduced me to the series. So the whole sequence of them at the hub was literally it. That's what reminded me of Assassin's Creed. I'm like, okay, they're going to this place where they train you and put you through like a machine to get your memories of your past lives, right? And then they said, oh, and the bad guy has this egg that is going to destroy everything. And I'm like, that's the piece of Eden. The piece of Eden that they have to basically find and destroy in Assassin's
Wasn't it an apple in Assassin's Creed?
The apple of Eden. It's like every game, it depends, but it's always a piece of Eden. So and like if the Knights Templar has the piece of Eden, then they can like basically control the whole world and kill everyone that's not going to be part of their society. And the assassins basically find the piece of Eden and destroy it so that like society doesn't come to an end. So it honestly, like that whole sequence, that's when I texted you, is this exactly like Assassin's Creed, or like what's going on here?
but to be fair, the only reason why they needed to get back his memories was because he had block. Usually he doesn't have that. He just remembers.
That's true. But it was just that whole sequence reminded me so much of it. I'm like,
yeah, and then I didn't realize. Yeah. I didn't realize until you texted me. You're like, this reminds me of Assassin's Creed. And I was like, I was literally sitting there watching it and I was like, oh my God.
You're even the concept behind it, the fact of like you living past lives to like, I don't know what that's the whole thing. Like, I don't understand the whole overall goal of this whole society. Like, are they supposed to protect like humanity?
They did say that their goal was literally to protect and to make humanity better because they have the information and means to do so. So that was their whole like thinking, was that they have a responsibility to protect and to help make humanity the best it can be.
Okay.
Okay,
I guess I never got that. Yeah, sorry, you go ahead.
Let's start at they brushed over it like really, really quickly. It was like a 10-second thing where she was like, yeah, we're here to make humanity better and protect them. And then he was like, oh shit. And then she was like, yeah, this is your room, by the way. they brushed over it really quickly.
That was it. That literally was it.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
My absolute favorite scene of all time, to the point where I have rewatched this one scene
I know you have.
A million times. Yeah. Like I literally showed you it. I mean, I didn't show you the whole scene. I showed you one part, which is my absolute favorite scene or part in the entire movie. The very beginning. Okay. We're gonna skip past the narration at the beginning because that was unnecessary. Did you notice? In the very beginning,
I honestly
the movie goes from black to basically Mark Wahlberg being like, there are these people who can reincarnate. They call themselves infinites. There are two groups, blah, blah, blah. And then it goes into the car chase scene.
Yeah.
Literally on the plane, like 20 minutes later, okay, Nora says the exact same thing. So the beginning narration was totally not necessary.
They could have left that out and made the audience feel more like the main character, where we're like super clueless about the whole thing. Exactly. And then when we find out when he finds out.
Yeah, but it seemed really redundant to me to have that one part in the beginning, the narration. Yeah. Cut that out. But anyway, literally 10 seconds later after the narration, we get this epic car chase scene. Like, my God, I specifically wrote like a whole paragraph about this one part.
Okay, go ahead. I just said first 5 minutes was cool.
So I literally have a whole paragraph here. Okay, it's about this one part where, okay, so Dylan O'Brien plays the reincarnation that we see first, right?
Yes.
Heinrich Treadway. He's driving a cool ass Ferrari, like the coolest car on the planet. He's in the tunnels being chased down by cops. He like he hits the brakes on the car and then like speeds up and sends a brick like flying through like 2 cop cars. Oh my god, I sat there with my mouth
very cool.
Open. Like my mouth dropped. I could not comprehend that. I thought that was so cool. I actually paused and went back and rewatched it like 3 times because I was like, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And it was the most well choreographed like car chase scene that I've seen in a movie in a while. Like a lot of times when we think car chase scenes, we think, you know, Fast and Furious. That's the first thing that comes to mind.
Listen, we already had this discussion. I don't get those movies.
This movie was way, way better. Like the car chase scene was way better than like any car chase scene I've seen in Fast and Furious, in my opinion. And like, oh my god. Okay, so he's there. He's at the top of the bridge. He does his little sexy hand thingy. He's like, yeah, sexy hand thing. And then he jumps out of the car while it's spinning onto the crane.
That was so cool.
Like, that was so bad.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, I have strong feelings about this scene. Like, it is one of my absolute like all-time favorite scenes ever. I have rewatched it over and over. I rewatched it this morning when I woke up. It is an amazing scene.
Of course you did. Yes, you did.
But also very sad and tragic because like Abel, and I think her name was Leona at the beginning, but she turns into Nora. That was really sad.
That
was
like,
oh, we knew at the beginning, and then it didn't happen.
Can I just say the first reincarnation that we see, those characters had more chemistry than the rest of the characters in the movie. Like, okay. First of all, so we talked about the car scene. That's awesome. It was really great. Why didn't they just make Dylan O'Brien the new reincarnation?
Exactly.
And make Mark Wahlberg the older one.
Exactly. Because not to hate on Mark Wahlberg. He is a good actor. He's a better actor than me. But I don't necessarily like I don't like his action movies. I much prefer him in comedy.
Throughout the entire thing, like I wrote a note. I said his character's name is Evan, and like when Evan was in the interrogation room, when the bad guy, I forgot his name, when the bad guy was like
Bathurst,
that guy, when he was like trying to get him to like jog his memory again of his past lives, the whole scene of him in the cell, and then like Nora coming in and saving him, and Nora like that whole car scene, it to me it just felt like he was so calm the whole time. Even when they get back to the airport and like Nora was explaining the whole reincarnation thing, he just seemed way too calm and chill about it. And I'm like, okay, if this was me, I would be freaking the fuck out. Like, right? I don't understand how you could be like, oh, okay, let's get this guy. Like, like, wouldn't you just be like, what the hell is happening?
Also, like, the reason why the other infinites don't freak out is because they remember their previous reincarnation. He doesn't remember this. So why isn't he acting like someone who doesn't remember going? And I do have to say, because yes, Mark Wahlberg is a good actor, but I like him in comedy. I don't like him.
I do too. I have to agree. He's like, him and Ted is
hilarious.
So funny. Hilarious.
And here's the thing though, Dylan O'Brien can do action movies, but also have like us believe the emotions that his character is. Like, okay, I don't know if you ever watched The Maze Runner, all 3 of the movies.
I've watched bits and pieces of like the first one.
His acting in that is so good. Like, you believe the emotions that he's feeling. And I mean, we're gonna watch this a little bit later, but Love and Monsters.
Yeah.
Oh my god, he has a like in that movie his character has like a whole like fear thing. I believed it so much, like 1,000%. Like there was no doubt in my mind that this dude was terrified. Like, he's really good at showing his character's emotions, and like deepness of these emotions.
Yeah.
So I feel like he would have been a better choice for that.
Yeah, I just felt like the whole, and like, not to like say anything bad about the actress, but Nora to me as a character wasn't intriguing at all. Like she was
more
very
intriguing in the
plain.
beginning.
She was, but even then, like she just seemed very plain, and she came across as the love interest character the whole time.
Yeah,
Like
which I thought was weird.
The only reason she's there is to be the love interest, and I thought they were going to get together, and then, you know.
Which I thought was weird because she has Abel, who she loves.
Yeah.
And has loved over multiple reincarnations to the point where they get together every single reincarnation. And I just thought it was weird how they set her up to be the love interest. Did you notice how close they were to each other at all times? To
Yes.
the point where they would turn faces and they would almost be like hitting each other with their heads.
Yeah. Like
it didn't make sense to me. I did not like that.
I didn't like that. And I just feel like her character was just there just to like
Yes.
be the person to explain everything.
I agree, which sucks because she is an older like reincarnation from my understanding.
Mm-hmm.
So she has just as much experience with this stuff as Treadway would have if he remembered his reincarnation. Yeah. So like why sorry, I got distracted because I just realized there's a fishing rod behind me. Sorry, that distracted me. Anyways, so like why is she not like up to par with him? Why is he like deemed more important than her when she was literally there? And
that
like
was the whole thing too, like with Treadway, everyone's saying like, oh, he's a badass, he's like supposed to be like this very stoic character. I did not get that at all. Like
I got that from Dylan O'Brien.
Yeah. Once he got his memories back, it just seemed like he was playing the same character, but with a slight more aggression.
And I actually made a note about that. Hold on, let me find it. Hold on. I wrote about it. Okay, yeah, right here. So at one point, right, he nearly drowns when they went to go see the artist or the artisan to get his memories back, right? They revive him, which I have issues with in of itself, because if they reincarnate, how come he didn't reincarnate when he died? Anyways, they revive him, right? He wakes up, he says, I am Treadway, right? He's like, okay, I remember everything. I am now Treadway. They're like, okay, well, if you are Treadway, then where did you hide the egg? All right. He waited like a full minute before he said anything. But then he goes, oh yeah, it's inside like, you know, his old body. But then he starts talking about himself in third person. He's like, you know, Treadway like knew that we use our bodies as just shells. So like he put it instead of I put it, you know. I felt that very weird.
There should have been like
he should have said I, not we, or he.
So even at the very end of the movie, when we had the new reincarnation come through with the kid and the artisan.
The kid was good too.
The kid was good, right? The artisan comes and he meets him, and even he was like, took you long enough, right?
Yeah.
Like that was better than the whole like third part. Like it just didn't it didn't seem very credible to me.
Because like when he was like, okay, like I cringed when Mark Wahlberg like did that 1 minute second where he was like, I am Treadway, and then they were like, okay, well, where's the egg? And he did this whole sigh thing as if he didn't know.
That
like,
was,
you know what I mean?
I hated
and then
it
and then he was
like zoned out to see the past life of himself. Like it was so cringy.
And I was just like, and he was literally sitting there and he's like, it is inside. But like the way he acted was as if he didn't know where it was when he did. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like it didn't seem very like real to me. And I'm like, I was still questioning the whole credibility of this character.
But the one thing I did like about when he would like zone out and try and like remember bits and pieces of the past was the way that they did that.
I did like that.
The effects that they used, and it looked like zooming through. And it looked like you were going through a temple.
Yeah, I really
which I think is a reference to what Nora was talking about, which was like the beginning. I think she called it Angkor Wat.
Mm-hmm.
I know I butchered that pronunciation, but don't come at me, please. But yeah, so like I think that's what that reference was, because it looked like they, like, whenever he remembered something,
Mm-hmm.
it looked like you were going through a temple to reach all these memories, right?
Yeah.
Which I thought was very cool, and I like how they gave a little bit insight into his past lives
Mm-hmm.
and how diverse his past lives were, which
Okay,
I liked.
I liked that, but then why were the rest of the characters just like
White,
white? And like you're
Yeah.
gonna make the bad guy
black.
a person of color?
Yeah.
Oh no. We have 10 minutes left. Hold on, we have to get out and come back in. What were we talking about?
Okay, yeah, so basically, guys, our we can only record in certain length of time intervals. So this is us coming.
We'll figure out logistics later.
Yeah, but we were basically saying how it was really weird how a majority of the cast was white, and
Yeah.
the person of color, I don't know the actor's name. I'm really sorry. The guy who played Bathurst,
Mm-hmm.
he was
I'm gonna look it up.
the villain.
Yeah.
So we were saying that was really weird, considering how like diverse the human population is. It's weird that we got 2 reincarnations back to back as white people, and everybody else,
Yeah.
pretty much,
Like there was the one Asian girl.
who had very little lines, and
Yeah, she had very
died.
little lines. And she died. Like she was the first one to die.
She died. She got reincarnated, but she died.
Hold on, I gotta look up the actor's name. Oh, he was in goddamn, I can't. Chiwetel, and I'm so sorry, I cannot say his last name. But he was in Doctor Strange. He was
He was
one black guy in Doctor Strange.
wasn't yeah, he was. Yeah, wasn't he like, didn't he turn evil at the end or something in that too?
I didn't watch Multiverse of Madness yet.
Oh.
So
well, I mean, honestly,
I
could honestly be very wrong in thinking of a different movie, because I have watched so many movies.
You have, yes. Anyways, yes. So he I liked his character, but my only thing with his, and I wrote it down, okay? Hold on, where is it? Okay, so his whole I like couldn't wrap my head around like his whole purpose of like being the bad guy. Like he wants the egg, right? To destroy all infinite so that nobody can reincarnate again.
No, not just to destroy infinites, to destroy all life. So that no one can reincarnate, because if there's no life, they can't reincarnate. He basically was suicidal. Trigger warning. He was suicidal. And actually I have a lot to say about that too.
He wanted to do a whole murder suicide of
because he literally can't die. So he keeps getting reincarnated.
Because his whole thing is every time he gets reincarnated, he gets his memories the moment
he gets conceived. Yeah. Which I actually made notes about that, because I thought that was really messed up. Could you imagine the moment you're conceived, you're conscious, and you're stuck in there for 9 months?
Oh my God. I would
while you're being developed.
But my whole thing is like, if you have that power, you have knowledge from the day that you're conceived, right? Why not use that to your advantage?
Okay, but here's the thing, which is also an issue I had in this movie. No other character, even though they've been through very similar things, seemed to understand him. To me, I got a guy who was pretty much depressed, because he remembers he goes through these periods of 9 to 10 months where he literally can't move.
It's 10 months.
We're not do anything.
Do the whole like pregnancy is actually 9 months. It's not actually. It's 10 months.
It's 10. But so he literally can't move. He can't talk. He can't do anything, right? That would drive anybody insane. For 10 months, he's all on his own, right? And that happens every single time. He's told this to all of them because he mentions it multiple times in the movie. And every single time, everyone's like, oh, that's no excuse. They're just brushing him off. Like, the dude needs help. He needs therapy. He's clearly depressed to the point of like, wanting to kill everybody.
Okay, here's I just thought of this. Okay, right. I know how like the gun that he uses to kill the infinites, right? It basically like takes this, which I thought was so stupid. It's literally just like a USB.
Yeah,
stick.
it's like a USB stick. It downloads you into the computer,
and that's their soul, right? I thought that was like kind of dumb. Anyway, so that's what he uses to kill them and traps them, so nobody can be reincarnated again, right?
But
so no, let me finish because I just thought of this, right?
I think I know where you're going, but yes, continue.
Okay. Evan at the end, or Treadway, whatever the hell you want to call him, shoots him.
Yeah.
Right? So theoretically, with that gun, in his storage thing, he should have his chip in there.
Yeah.
Okay. Didn't Nora blow that up at the end? So then they're all free?
Yeah. But he wasn't in that thing at the end.
So he can't be reincarnated.
Right, because his chip, the bullets that he shoots people with, that's where the chip is found. And then he puts the chip into the containment thingy.
Oh, see, I didn't get that.
But here's, yeah.
Because then I was just be like, this whole thing could just be an endless loop that happens over and over again.
Yeah, like, no, like that, like you have to have the bullet to get the chip. That person downloaded. So
the chip is now in the bottom of the ocean.
But here's the thing.
All it's going to take is an idiot to go down there.
But here's the thing. It's also technology.
That's
Technology and water topics.
They don't make sense.
So sooner or later,
who's to say that they didn't like, figure that out?
Well, I mean, okay, here's the thing. Treadway, like after he stabbed the egg and stopped it from being destroyed or destroying the planet, he threw his sword at Bathurst and stabbed him. So his sword was still in the dude when he hit the ground, when they hit the water.
Yeah.
And then the artisan at the end is like, here's your sword, dude. So clearly somebody went down there, got the sword. Did they grab the chip as well?
Did you not think that the artisan kind of came off as like an evil person? Like another bad guy to you?
I think that's
that vibe?
Well, that's because they explained that too, Sally. They said that him and Treadway have like bad blood in the past because Treadway like tortured him and tried to kill him.
I just like wasn't paying attention enough when I was watching this movie. That'll tell you a lot about
okay. Also, I've watched this movie more than you have.
I've only watched it once. I've watched it last night.
I've watched bits and pieces of it like 1,000 times, but I've seen the whole thing twice.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I just.
Yeah. So basically, I felt really bad. I know he's the bad guy, but I felt bad for Bathurst. I felt like he was clearly depressed, and he was very much being vocal about that, and everyone was brushing him off.
All someone had to do was
literally when
why if he was like this, right, why didn't he just like have someone shoot him with his gun and have them hide away his thing instead of
I mean, yes, you have a fair point, but I actually don't know what it's like when you get downloaded. Like, are you conscious in the chip? Are you just like no, you know what I mean?
Nora said you don't get your memories until you like hit puberty. Like you don't get your full memories back until you hit puberty.
Yeah, but still, you could still be conscious in the chip. Especially Bathurst, because he gets his full memories back the second he gets conceived. Yeah, like this poor, and it's like, why didn't these people like who clearly understand what this guy's going through? They're like, okay, like you're special because you get your memories back the second you're conceived. He's talked about how upsetting this is, and they're all basically like, oh, that's no excuse. Like, What? I'm sorry, but that's not how.
Excuse me with your little problems.
Like, literally,
Most of
they're
us.
all like, and they're always going on about how great Treadway is because he can like push the boundaries between like the superhuman or supernatural or whatever it was.
That's what confused me too. Okay, that whole scene in the plane where he, especially like, okay, when he put his hand out the car, I didn't understand that whole thing.
That
And
was
then-
really sexy, but yeah.
And then the whole like him on the wing of the plane with the katana, and then he
Yeah.
lets go and he has like these like mystical
Yeah.
powers. I'm like where the hell did that come from? How did
Okay,
nobody
but
like really mention it, or
they
really
did
go
mention
into-
it.
No, but I
So-
mean, how did nobody really get into it before?
I know they should have gone into like way more detail about it because they every time they mention something important like this, they brush it off. So like, okay,
like really
they show Evan what his past body looked like, right? He's floating there in like stasis and ice or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I think they actually said it was some sort of acid. I don't remember. But basically they were like, he's special. And they're like, and then Mark Wahlberg makes the joke, which I thought was like the best line he delivered, where he was like, is this really telling me that I'm not living up to my potential? and then they were like, yeah, like Treadway believed that humans were capable of more, and he always pushed the boundary between like, you know, human ability and the supernatural kind of, because he was able to like control like the like I think it was like the energies around him or something. And then Mark Wahlberg goes, yeah, you're telling me I can't live up to my potential. I'm not living up to my potential. I thought that was like the best line that he delivered. But yeah, they brushed it off in like 2 seconds, you know?
Yeah.
It would have been nice for them to like explain that a little bit more, because this dude clearly, like, over his hundreds or maybe even thousands of years being reincarnated over and over again, he clearly is able to push the boundaries on what humans can do. You know, they should have explored that a little bit more.
They should have. I also want to mention, so remember when they go to the artisan and he gets his memory back, and then they get attacked.
Yeah.
Right? So they go into the room, they're in the elevator trying to escape. And did you notice on like, so there was one shot where they had this, they were showing the footage of the security camera, and then the guy goes up to the door, which looks like a metal door, right?
Yeah.
And he puts his hand on it. It bounced like it was fucking plastic.
I did not notice that.
How did nobody catch that in post and be like, or like even while they were filming and be like, my dude, you have to pretend this is a metal door and not touch it.
Not touch it.
Like just like graze it and just like pretend you're trying to like go through a metal wall. Like it just, I saw that and I'm like, really? Okay.
That's actually hilarious. I didn't notice that.
You have to go back and watch for that one scene.
I do, but okay. Similarly, okay, I don't know if you noticed this, but when they're going to the artisan at first, right? They get out of that really futuristic, cool-looking car, right?
Yeah.
They all got out of one side of the car.
Didn't
the
both
valets
sides open?
No, the valets opened 2 doors. The front driver, and the back passenger behind the driver.
Yeah.
Every single character in that car, so 4 people, got out of that side of the car.
Even
if you notice,
you
notice, Mark Wahlberg was sitting beside Nora. He was sitting in the passenger seat.
Yeah.
He gets out, goes behind the chair, and out the back door. He goes out the back passenger door behind the driver.
And like, what's
and
the most
I'm literally wondering
way to get out of this car?
And I'm like, I get it. They're trying to show all the actors on the scene getting out of this car, but like, also, do the doors on the other side not work? Does this car have doors on the other side?
You didn't have to do it, like have the camera angled like below, so that you just you're like looking up. They could have just done it as a wider shot, and then everyone got out of their own doors. And
because they literally the camera was literally showing literally showing one side of the car, and they all got out of that one side of the car.
Like they just wanted to show you how the doors open.
like every time I watch that scene, I notice it, and it drives me nuts. It drives me literally nuts. I'm like, is your car door not working, Mark? Why are you getting out on the side? Which, to be fair, I mean, the actors do what the director wants. So I don't know who decided that
That's fine,
was a
but
good
like,
choice.
if you're gonna do a scene multiple times, right, to get multiple shots, wouldn't at one point you be like, I feel like there's an easier way to get out of this car?
Yeah, and I mean, I guess this goes to show how good of an actor Mark Wahlberg is, because if I had to do that multiple times, I would not be able to keep a straight face.
No, but I'm saying, like, if you were the person, right, trying to get out of the door, and the director told you to get out of the door that specific way, wouldn't after like a take or two you'd be like, could we try it like this way, where I get out of the door like this instead?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Like, to me, Mark is a better comedian, so maybe he's like, we should keep it in for that, the comedy aspect of it. But like, so like, yeah. I thought that was like a really weird choice, and it took me out of the film a little. Like, to watch all four characters come out of one side of a car, like, I don't know, it didn't work.
It's like the little thing. It's honestly the little things in this that you're like, okay, like, really? While watching this whole movie, like,
exactly. And
even so, at the end, when they're like at the bad guys' headquarters trying to get rid of the guy Bathurst and all that, like, of course there has to be the two females fighting.
Yeah, but I mean, I actually wrote about that too.
Okay, go ahead. I just wrote, like, of course they're gonna have the two females fighting.
Yeah, so I actually said that I really liked how well choreographed Nora's fight scene was in the forest.
I will say,
so she jumps off, she catches the drone, that whole thing. At one point, okay, this was like, I was like, whoa, and I had to rewind it and rewatch it. She grabs the branch, right, flings herself forward using the branch for momentum, like twists, kicks the guy like 50 feet, okay, cool. And then lands, and I was like, yo. So that whole part there was really, like, I'm not
well saying
done.
The fight choreography is bad. Like, I thought it was pretty good.
No, I agree, but like, I do agree with you with the fact that it's these movies always do this. The guy fights the guy, the girl fights the girl.
Like,
always.
Like, why? Why can't there just be like?
And why is no one wearing any protection? Okay, they're going up against soldiers. All the soldiers are wearing like these heavy bulletproof vests, these helmets, and they're going in wearing jeans and a t-shirt. Yeah, they're going in wearing jeans and a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Did you notice they're literally wearing black jeans?
Black jeans and a sweater.
Like
a turtleneck.
I don't get it. Also,
a tight-fitting turtleneck.
Yeah, and also, okay, so Nora has been alive for thousands of years, hundreds of years. However long she's been alive, right? She goes in to this forest to shoot this dude with the sniper. She's got her little sniper. She's wearing all black. You're gonna stick out like a sore thumb.
Also,
like,
there was
why like, no camouflage?
She was trying to hide behind the tree, and I'm like, they don't see her. She's
literally, she hides behind the tree, and the tree's skinnier than she is.
And she's there like, I hope they don't see me. I hope they don't see.
Like, literally, and I feel like it does her character such injustice, because
she could have been so good.
It could have been so good. Like, she could have been a really well thought out character. Like, obviously they spent the most time on Treadway's character because he's the main character.
We really should have spent that much time with him, though.
True, but they spent so much time on his backstory. We got no backstory from Nora.
Nothing.
She could have had such a good one. Especially with her waking up and realizing that Abel wasn't there.
Yeah, like that would have been.
It could have been
such
scene. It could have been like she could have had such good story. Her character could have been really well fleshed out, but it wasn't, and it really upsets me.
Yeah, I think that's maybe why I wasn't a huge fan of her character. I just think like she just seemed like too plain for me.
She did, and like. It was really upsetting because, like, I'm very much of the mindset that a woman's character should not be based off of what the male character does or is
Yeah,
doing. And
I
it felt
agree.
very much like all of her motivations, which I get, she loves Abel, but all of her motivations were to save Abel and to help Treadway. That was the only reason why she
Yeah.
was there. Like if she wasn't in the movie and it was a different character, not very much would have changed. You know what I mean? Which okay.
I'm sorry, I was trying to fix myself and it was really weird.
That's okay.
Continue.
But yeah, like I feel like they could have done so much more with her character, but they
Mhm.
just wasted the potential.
Yeah. What else?
I
Okay, can I
actually
just say
have-
the
Yes, go.
the fact that they had mentioned the titanium plate in his head so many times, you're
So
like,
many times.
you're like, okay, clearly
Legit.
something's gonna happen where that is going
Legit.
to save him, and it does.
Yeah.
At the end.
Yeah, and like building on that, at the end, right, we get our final fight scene between Treadway and Bathurst,
Mhm.
right? I was so disappointed. That fight scene sucked so bad. Like
It just seemed like they were going all over the place.
yeah, and it's not even that. Like, okay, so the fight scene that we get in like clips between Heinrich, Treadway, and Bathurst when they're on the crane.
Yeah.
That fight
That was
scene,
so cool. That was really
that
good.
fight scene was amazing. Like he uses his katana sheath to like flip himself around the
Yeah.
crane and like fight him, and it was really well done. All right. The fight scene in the plane, it felt like two old people hitting each other like this. That's what it reminded me of.
But that kind of brings me back to my point of like Dylan O'Brien should have been the reincarnated version.
Yes, he should have.
Like
He's like he would have done so much more with that choreography than Mark Wahlberg could have.
I think so. Yeah. Like, and I'm not like Mark Wahlberg looks really great for his age. I'm not like knocking
1000%. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying like the fight choreography that they used could have been better.
Yeah.
And not to hate on the actors because they are good actors. I'm not saying that. It's just I feel like every actor has at least one genre that they excel at.
Mm-hmm.
Action is not it for Mark.
Yeah.
For Mark Wahlberg, his comedy,
I think
he excels at that.
For sure.
Right? Dylan O'Brien is an actor where you can get a lot from a little. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can give him the bare minimum.
He's still like, I think before this, the only thing that I really knew him from was either Maze Runner or Teen Wolf. So I think
Wolf, yeah.
If they had given him a better chance in this movie and given him more, he would have been seen as like, okay, this guy could also do all this stuff too. And given him more attention. Like he's still young. He still needs to like be in more things and like see where
he's been in a lot this year, but I know he is taking a break from acting. Like there was a lot of movies in 2021 that came out that he was in. 2022 he decided to take a break.
It's almost like everywhere in 2021. Yeah,
but here's the thing too, for me, to make a character believable, the way that the character moves when they fight, like you can clearly tell that the actor just has not spent their whole life learning how to fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like some actors, you can give them like a 10-second piece of fight scene choreography, and they can make it seem like they have been doing that their whole lives. Others, it looks very kind of not really sloppy, but it doesn't look believable, you know?
I also think,
and that's what I felt with this scene.
To have keep in mind the fact that they probably do use their stunt doubles, but you need to have more of a fluidity with the stunt doubles.
But also, did you notice in this scene you could tell when it was the stunt double? I could tell when it was the stunt double and when it was the actor. When it was the actor, it looked very like non-polished, you know? But like there's this one part where Mark is holding the sword, or I should say Treadway. I shouldn't say the actor's name because it was the stunt double. But you could tell it was the stunt double because he's holding the sword and pushing it forward, and all you see is the back of his head. right? And then you see Bathurst actor there, and he's pushing the sword against Bathurst, right? You can tell by the way the way the body looks, that was not Mark Wahlberg. You can tell that was the stunt double.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I'm very much of the thought that movement for me is important for an actor to make me believe that they are this character. If they if their character is all about being able to fight and knowing multiple types of martial arts and that type and everything, they better make me believe that they know that they've been doing that their whole lives. You know what I mean? And I did not get that from this particular character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. What else?
Like literally Nora's fight in the forest I liked better than the final ultimate fight between Bathurst and Treadway, which is kind of sad, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. I just at the end of the day it made it in the movie, so
yeah. Yeah, but so I have a lot of feelings about this movie, but I do have to say the very, very ending of this movie I did like, where they showed each character like being like reborn into their new like reincarnations, and then they showed like a 10-second clip of them a little bit older. Like they showed Treadway fighting.
I like
that fight scene was so good, and it was so much better than the one between Bathurst and Treadway. Like that end scene, that was really good. And then like the whole dramatic thing where he cuts like the apple or the fruit, whatever it was, in half, and he's like, about time, you know, that was super sassy of him, great. But then I loved how we saw Abel and Nora together.
That was so sweet.
Which was so sweet. But one thing I didn't get.
Okay.
So she says her name for her most recent reincarnation was Nora, right? The one that we saw was Nora. Before that, she was not known as Nora.
Yeah, it was.
So how does Abel know her name is Nora? Because he says, "Hi, Nora," and she's like,
so true.
You know?
I feel like they only did that not to confuse the audience.
They might, which is fair, because it like there are certain things that as a filmmaker you have to do so that your audience isn't confused. But these are just things that I think of because I'm crazy. You know?
So watching that end scene, that's what got me thinking, right? And I know this is just us speculating because we don't have the power in Hollywood to do any of the things that we wish we could do. But after watching that end scene, I thought this whole concept would work really well as a series. And
I thought that too.
You do it as maybe like a 3 or 4 season show, and you do 8 to 10 episodes, and every season is a different reincarnation of the character.
I thought that too, because
then you get the full backstory and not have to rush through anything. And then you can develop every character. So then Nora wouldn't be like this character that is not as developed as all the others.
Yeah, and like another thing that I actually like, I've talked about this such, the movie that they should have made was not the movie that they made. Like the first 5 minutes of the movie was absolutely phenomenal. Like I have very, very little complaints about that other than the beginning narration. What they should have done, the movie that they should have made was the movie leading up to the movie that they didn't make. So the first 5 minutes felt like the end of a story that we didn't get. We should have gotten that story. Like we should have gotten how did they find out that Bathurst had created the egg. We should have gotten them going to try and stop him from getting the egg. Should have gotten Treadway getting the egg, and then ends with that 5 minutes.
Yeah.
This movie to me very much felt like an afterthought of that story, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you were
like
saying that, and I do get that now that I've seen it.
And it very much felt like this could have been like a 5-minute movie. Like it did not need to be this long to get across the story that it was trying to produce.
For sure. And
right?
that's why I said, if it was a show, you can definitely do every season is a different reincarnation.
Yeah.
And then the final season would be, I guess, what they were trying to do with this movie.
Yeah, and for you, because I know you're a bookie, it very much felt like a epilogue to me. This whole movie. Yeah.
So I think we are running out of time.
Sorry, one last thing really quick that I want to say.
Okay, go ahead.
Very quick.
Go ahead.
The music in this movie was very good, I have to say. The song that they used at the very beginning in the fight scene, the car chase scene, Legends Never Die by Campfire.
Oh,
I have listened to that song so many times.
I
listened to it on my way to my exam on repeat on my 20-minute bus ride to write my exam to hype me up. I was hyping myself up with that song, and it was really good. So I do have to say that they did choose really good music for this. So that's my last thought.
That's good. Okay. I think I'm going to read the book and I'll get back to you.
Yes, let me know whether it's good or not, because I thought about reading the book, but as we know, I always start reading and then I never finish. So
I know.
I get distracted too easily.
You do.
I have 10 unread books that I've started and haven't finished.
I know you do.
Yeah.
I think I'm not reading anything at the moment, I don't think. So I'm gonna pick this up and I'm gonna read it and let you know. Maybe by next episode, hopefully. Who knows?
Okay.
Yes. Rating?
6.5 out of 10.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
6 point. Just because the first scene, as I always have been saying this entire episode, phenomenal, absolutely amazing. The music was really well done, and I did like the concept of the story. I just don't think that they did it as well as they could have. So I'm going to say 6.5 because I absolutely love the idea surrounding this movie, and it's one of my favorite things about it.
Yeah, I think I'm going to agree with you and say 6.5 as well. I think I think it needed a little bit.
It had such potential to be great, which is why I kind of rate it a little bit higher. But
the concept's really good. I just it didn't get executed properly, I don't think.
Yeah. So that's why I say 6.5.
Yeah. Okay. So with that being said, thank you for joining us on our first episode of Two Fandom Friends. Next week, did we want to talk about what we're going to talk about next week?
Yes. So staying in theme with Dylan O'Brien, we're actually going to be watching a movie on Netflix called Love and Monsters. Oh, by the way, you guys can go watch Infinite on, I think it's Paramount Plus. I think I rented it through Prime Video, but whatever. Love and Monsters is the next one we're going to talk about. Dylan O'Brien. He plays the main character. It's actually set in a post-apocalyptic world. So there's a lot of creatures and monsters.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but it's been on my
I've watched it
list.
twice already. I'm gonna watch it a third because I love this movie so much.
Of course.
Dylan O'Brien did a fantastic job, but we'll talk more about that next week.
Yes. Okay. So thank you for joining us. Share, subscribe, follow us on all the socials at Silver Magic Studios. Go on to our website, silvermagicstudios.ca. And until next time, toodles.